Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. And good morning, everyone. Today is almost Christmas. And I'm still here talking about our most precious natural resource. It's the land. My name is Jillian Bartlett. I'm an executive member and the vice chair lady for the Coalition of Independence, for short, the COI. And I'm happy to be back to talk about the vision. You know, land is the most precious thing that you can have, especially in the Bahamas, and especially for the Bahamian people, because we have over 700 islands under the sun. Probably less than 10 to 15 are inhabited and have the proper infrastructure after 53 years of our independence in 1973. But that's fine. I mean, 700 islands are a lot. So, you know, I'm sure when the government at hand get around to it, they will get it figured out. But I think after 53 years and going on 54 years, I don't think they'll ever figure it out. So, of course, we've been stagnated because they don't know how to spread the wealth. The wealth is supposed to be common. I don't think they really get the picture. It's in the written preamble and our Constitution about the wealth of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas should be commonly, equally shared to the Bahamian people, with the Bahamian people, shared equally. There's no slave and bondsman. Nobody's supposed to be a slave over no other. I mean, gone are the days, really, where you have to have servants and people over other people. I thought those days were gone long time. I know for a fact that we live in a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful paradise, which I love. I love the Bahamas. As a matter of fact, I think I'm in love with the Bahamas. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I'm in love with the Bahamas. I have to admit it. Gone are the days where our people should feel disenfranchised by not having what they're supposed to have, that's supposed to be actually common. That's the land. And as you know, I read previously, in 1956, is it? Let me just make sure I have that date right. Let's see, 1956, they talk about a law. I got a lot of writing around here, so you'll have to forgive me this morning. In 1956, we had a law passed, right? It wasn't a law, it was really a policy where I think it was the Immovable Act or it was the Fighting Act. Or I think it was the Immovable Act, yeah, that's what it was. The Immovable Act that was given to us by the colonial partners. I'll call them partners now because, you know, they tried very hard to implement this Immovable Act for us in the Bahamas. Yeah, it is the Immovable Act because there's one called the Quieting Act, and then there's one called the something with initials on it. But anyway, I'm gonna get it organized this morning. I'm sorry, but I just finished eating breakfast and listen to a lot of steel band music, which brings a lot of cheer. So I'm gonna get it together, but I don't know when. So where am I? As opposed to what the land was supposed to do for its indigenous people, which are called the Bahamians in the Bahamas. The colony of Britain, who is our persons who are in charge of us, and you know, they govern these islands. But when we became independent, you know, we still cling to the colony of Britain. But do you realize in 1956 they had to formulate an immovable act, and they presented it because they want there to be a even distribution of land to the Bahamians, for the Bahamians. And then eventually that turned into a gift as Crown land. And that's where we left off at with regards to why land is important to the indigenous Bahamians in the Bahamas. And yes, it is our natural resource. And Vision 2030 has explained its mandate for land distribution, because at the present time, under the other political governments, there hasn't been a fair distribution that trickled down to all Bahamians. It's almost like those persons who were elected to protect the interests of the Bahamians, I believe they got high and mighty, yeah. And they forgot the vision under Sir Lyndon Billen to make us owners of our country. And year after year, you know, the Bahamian people, not me, the Bahamian people step out of elections. Sometimes there's a high population voting, and sometimes it's like, what's the point? They see the disenfranchised between the property that's given to or given out to investors, yes. It's not an equal distribution. Yeah, they see it. And then when you can't get prevalent information with regards to how much property you have and a proper survey to see how this land is dispersed to foreigners, whereas to its indigenous people. Well, you know, we see it. I mean, we see it on a huge scale all over the islands, but particularly in Nassau. And I'll just draw one investment that's prominently dominating our Bahamian market. And it has to do with tourism, yeah. It's distressing to see that hotels, conglomerate hotels, and they're beautiful, and I'm not saying nobody's changing that, right? But it is the business behind the business of hotel improvement. We saw Paradise Island. It was one module, and then it expanded to $1 trillion module. And then we saw Albany. Quiet, but room for major expansion. And we see the container port in Freeport, Grand Bahama. Major expansion. Then we all witnessed the Bahamas war of investment. I think that was the most embarrassing investment, how it was handled politically to all of us. I mean, it was arduous, it was tedious, it was unprofessional, it was too many political hands, and this one want to grab the store, and this one want to have all the stalls, and this one want to outdo the owner, and then they bring in the F&M to help, and they put them in there, and I don't know why it had to be so cumbersome. And I still can't believe it took 15 years to bring that investment. I mean, literally, they spent 15 years of that, whilst Port Lucaya plummet. You ever thought of that? Many in Grand Bahamas suffer from a tourism deficit, disenfranchised development. I hope that makes sense. And I saw myself where Bahamians had to leave because I literally left, not because of a hotel, because I ain't working in a hotel. You can forget that. I saw where the Bahamians left Grand Bahama, and maybe some of the outer islands also, and they went for a job in the same field probably, or not, in Nassau, just to get involved with that catastrophe of a development because it was political. You'll remember that. And it was on prime property in Nassau, where it was so bad with the development, because I was working in Nassau at the time with fitness, and I saw where they blocked everything. It was like, okay, you can't run on the beach no more. Okay, look like they want to take Goodman's Bay, and you don't have access to all the way, because some of us are very athletic, and so we like the beach. I mean, then I hear they take the actually Goodman's Bay beach and petition it off, and it's like, who's looking out for us, the Bahamians? The same thing happened with Port Lucayo, because yes, I ran the beach, yes. And they put all these restrictive signs up, and you can't go beyond here because of COVID. And the hotel actually fallen down. Nobody's in it. It's not been even, tourism is like zero in Grand Bahama. I don't care how them big bus ride around. It is the worst it's ever been. But yet, these prime property on land sits docile, like dilapidating on prime land. I can't say it's all crown land because I don't know. I don't have that information, right? But all these properties become derelict. The bazaar, prime property, derelict. Used to be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful casino, and used to have fashion shows by the pool. And okay, I don't gamble, but they had a terrific show in the casino, in the bazaar. Beautiful stores from all over the country, and you can go to China, and you can go to Africa, you can go to Timbuktu, you can go to, I don't know, the Oasis in Africa, I don't know, all kind of different things. We used to have a store there too, okay? So it's obviously I have my tentacles all over the place, like all over. Prime property on land in this beautiful country. And who's protecting it? I have to keep smiling, right? And y'all know why. Because it's jolly time and it's a beautiful day. Who is protecting the land resources in our country? Can't be this political party who's expanding, and I'm going to, yes, get on that, expanding a container port. I know for certain that's Crown land and generation property. But all these prime land properties, prime mean on beaches, and I'm trying to understand, does it make any sense to continue down this path and to allow political parties to get involved, to have, they have like a war going on, not behind the scenes, I talk about in our faces, and we sit there, and yes, it's beautiful. I'm not saying they're not beautiful, prime, upgraded places, right? But they keep expanding, and then we don't see ownership coming in our direction. We don't see those who sits in that House of Assembly really fighting for the ownership that was preached to the PLP. And I really thought the PLP had that one together. And they would follow through with Sir Lyndon Pinlin's dream that one day its people would be in charge. There's nothing wrong with being in charge with a whole conglomerate hotel, and then, we pay the investors back. But no, that hasn't happened. Paradise Island's been sold over since Saul Kersner passed away. I think it was run by his son, and then I don't know who is run by anymore. Albany is a quiet storm. Albany property is so huge. The hotel, yeah. Port Lucaya is a dying giant. It's just dead. Port Lucaya Hotel, Port Lucaya Marketplace. You cannot bring your kids to walk around the circles and a few stores open, and that's the dream. The bazaar is gone. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about ideas for West End, but what's the point of saying it? Because if it ain't happened by now, it ain't gonna happen. And here we have a desecration of our land over Bahamian ownership and foreign ownership. So obviously the dream of ownership under Sir Lyndon Pindon to his people has gone out the window. And now the people continue to work. And like I said, work, no matter what it is still good. But I believe when we miss the boat and the natural resources, which is the land, which the this immovable property acquisition that was done in I think it was like somewhat completed in 1981, but it was formulated in 1956 by the British government. And then later they didn't like any of it, and then they bought this other act called IPLA in 1993. Yeah, that's where we are. We are between 3 different land acquisitions, I guess for the highest bidder, because the Bahamians feel disenfranchised. Yeah. So what I want to do first, I want to read, let me see if I can find my other phone. I want to read to you, hold on a second. I want to read to you what these acquisitions mean. And I really want you to keep that in the back of your mind whilst we talk about the issue, but we bring the solutions under the Coalition Vision 2030 for the Bahamas and its people. Now, we're not making it exclusive to Bahamians because that would be actually stupid for me to say. Please. We can always have investors. It is what it is. Take it or leave it. That ain't gonna change. But we need an equal balance in distribution of land, investment, and the care for its people. Because the people are saying now, I think we need change bad. Okay? So let me find my other phone, and I want to read to you what these different acquisitions are all about. It's called the IPLA, the Quieting Act, and the Immovable Property Acquisition. So give me 1 minute. While I'm gone, y'all please share. Good morning, everyone. Where's my phone? 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 Okay, let's see. Okay, so I want to read these 3 definitions in your hearing first, so you can understand what the property has been going through and who did what and so on and so forth. Okay, let's see if I can find it. Okay, here we are. All right. Oh, good. I can actually read this without my glasses, except that IPLA Act. That means International Persons Landholding Act. That was in 1993. So I'll read the first one first, because the first one was formed sometime in specifically around 1981, but it was still introduced before we became independent in 1956. All right, let's get that on. So the Immovable Property Act 1981 version, was a formal law that restricted foreign ownership of land and has been appealed. That's the first one. The Quieting Act came along. I feel like Mr. Ingram has something to do with the Quieting Act. I just feel like I don't have any information to back it up. I just feel that he was a part of that one. The Quieting Act, Title Act, is a current law that establishes a legal process of determining and confirming a clear title to land. There's nothing wrong with that. And then the new one. Yeah, this is a new one. 1993. Let's see if I can get it clear. Yes, it's called the IPLA Act, the International Person Landholding Act in 1993. It's a current law that regulates property acquisition by non-Bahamians, replacing the former Immovable Property Act. Now you know exactly what these acts are about. And I know it's a holiday, and I know you're out there traveling. I know it's more important to what size turkey you're going to get. I mean, come on. You're probably doing a last minute shopping for the kids' gifts. The same old, the same old. But this is far more important because your land is the best gift that you can ever want to make sure that you have your land. The land of the Bahamas. So that was the definition of the three of the different laws. A couple of years ago when Mr. Bain had brought this to our attention because it's in Vision 2030, it was a lot to digest. But as I read the vision, everything seems so clearer. I mean, it was like a couple of years ago, if you asked me to talk about this, I'd be like, boring. It's so boring. I don't want to read that. But this is one of the solutions under the Coalition of Independence with regards to this act. They want to reform one of these acts. Let me see which one it is. They want to reform. Let's make sure I get the right act. I don't want to say the wrong thing, okay? They want to reform one of these acts because it doesn't make any sense now because the equilibrium of us versus the acquisition for foreign entity isn't working. Our tourism is zilch. It is what it is. All right. So one of these acts, the Coalition of Independence would love to reform so it could be under the protection for the Bahamian people. And when I get to that, I will read that. Okay? But right now, I just can't find it. It's just, must be the holidays. I can't see it. I don't know where it is. I got a lot of writing going on here. And I must be had a lot of pages that I have to write on. And I just have it all jumbled up. I can see part 20. All right, that's where it starts, right there. Okay, cool. Part 27. Okay, now I found my bearings. But one of these acts, the Coalition of Independence will reform. And by reforming this act, let me tell you what it's going to do for Bahamians. It's going to put them in a position of ownership of land. Yeah, and easy access, and to cut the bureaucracy. I'll say cut the crap. And you will be more empowered because once you have land, you have leverage. You have leverage with any investment. You have leverage with, I guess if you want to go to the bank because you're tired of doing ASUs, you have leverage, okay? So where am I? Surprise, surprise, surprise. When I speak to the 2030 vision, I come across two pivotal acts. And I think I read three of them and its definition. The Immovable Property Acquisition and the Quieting Title Act in 1956 when it was passed by the British, because in 1956 1956. We did not have our independence yet, so we were still getting it organized. So the time frame between 1956 to 1973 is about maybe 17 years. I could be wrong. You can calculate that. Those were the two acts so far. And then later down, there was another act called the IPLA. And, it just got marooned, and nobody was paying attention, and everybody who could come in could get it, and the Bahamians felt really disrespected. But solutions refer to the solution to fix land reform. Now remember, I talked about some other solutions at another point earlier with regards to some of the things that the Coalition of Independence will be doing ASAP, because Bahamian ownership after 53 years to get 1 acre sounds very excellent. I'm going to say it like that. There's too much bureaucracy. The COI will make it more easier for Bahamian people to access their crown land. Okay, now you may have to buy some other land if you want it, but the crown land. And then remember now, the crown land in 1990 roughly is 3.45 acres. So hello, there's more enough for you, my generation, my children's generation, and their children's generation. Yeah, why not? Seeing that all the prime land, most of the prime land is taken over for tourism, and that's fine if that's exactly what it was used for. So they also talk about a lack of land management and proper mapping. The COI will improve that. So you can get on this device here and kabing, exactly where the crown land is. Kabing, you can apply for it on land. And then you have to fill out prerequisites and so on and so forth. And everything is transparent. So they want to do that, okay? Solution, they want to reclaim a bold plan for Bahamians to ensure its sustainable use to empower every citizen with a stake in our national wealth. Land is important, okay? This is how the Bahamians are feeling. Limited Bahamian ownership, unregulated foreign speculation, environment desecration, late 1990 roughly tells us that we have 3.45 million acres. That's what I spoke about in my last slide with regards to our natural resources on land. And here I'm going to continue with Plan 1.2. Implementation of strategy. This is extremely, extremely simple. It's not that complicated. And that's why I wonder why we keep getting a government who expand. Wait a minute. Do you realize that all of these hotels, maybe not Bahamas, Paradise Island, Atlantis has room for expansion, and they've probably expanded twice. Right there in that corner, spreading this way and spreading that way. I remember. And then Albany had land, and I don't have the details, so maybe I will bring the details to you with regard how much land that's been given to investors. I'm not talking about a small plot. And of course they pay for it, I'm not saying they didn't pay for it, but they had room to expand. So when the time comes, that's an excellent, excellent hotel, I have to admit. Okay, Paradise Island, Albany, and what's the next one? Bahamas. Yeah, all have room for expansion. Let's talk about Port Lucaya. Room for expansion didn't happen because the little plot by someone's brother his brother was the prime minister, wanted to sell it for above market price. So they pulled the deal back then. Now, what happened between that deal fell through, and it fell through a couple of times, only God knows. But we can see the end result. We have a building in Port Lucaya with no room for expansion and rotting. I'll say the same thing for the Princess Hotel, the Bazaar, rotting. I ain't gonna say nothing about West End. I'm not saying anything about West End. Shh. Exactly. That's what West End is. Quiet. So, Plan 1.2, implementation of strategy. Distributing an acre to every Bahamian will be taken into transparent manner over the coming years. Key steps is the implementation plan. I wouldn't even tell you what it includes, but the key word is to implement. Now, I want you to think. The Land and Survey Department that's not online, so you can't fill it online. So you got to go there, in there to an office. Maybe somebody at the front desk thinking they own the property because they got a politically appointed position. So everybody have attitude. And I think the last time I was there, I had to use a carbon, like I had 2 sheets of paper, and I had to use, that like carbon paper copy you put in between the paper so you can fill it out, and you could have one and then the other one go to them, and then you give it to them, and then 2 years pass, an election happened, and Bob's your uncle. I wonder if that has changed. And this is where key steps in implementation plans plummet. That system, what we have now, actually is created for failure. But this is not what Vision 2030 under the COI is about. It isn't about failing. They want to put certain things in place like land auditing and zoning. The COI will conduct a comprehensive and to identify suitable crown land across all islands. Now remember now, for our location, because we got how much? Who can tell me how much acre do we have? You don't think by now, if you had a little bit of land the things that you could have done. I see there's slow connection when I say the word land. Listen, yeah, we in the Bahamas, we can talk about our land Facebook, so don't try it, okay? And I can talk about land until Jesus come. All right? This ain't got nothing to do with y'all in the global community. This has to do with us Bahamians. Every time we turn around, somebody's crying about something. And they feel hopeless. Not because I'm going to blame them for voting for those parties. No. I'm not going to do that. You have a right to vote for whomever you please. But remember now, when they're not following through, and then 4 years later, they're going to hold a carrot on the top of your head and say, we're signing this big deal, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, in the container port, that's 660 million, but they're going to victimize you, or they're going to ignore you. Yeah, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. And the bazaar in Port Lucaya ain't sold, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. But if y'all vote us in one more time, this is what they're saying. But we're saying, if y'all vote us in just this time, give us this chance. Believe me, I ain't got nothing else to do in my life to work 24/7 to make sure everything is set right and the Bahamians are put first. That's my mandate. I ain't know but nobody else. And that's Mr. Bain's mandate. Say whatever you want about him. That's his mandate, because it's not just him. He has a whole slew of us who are ready to work, and we won't come up for air until things are put in order. So what's the order? Land audit, zooming, that needs to be done, because you can't set people up to fail. You can't give them crown land and maybe I'm going to say this, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but it's already in the public. Y'all remember when a certain government under a certain party, start with F, gave land, well, maybe it was the PLP and the Perry, gave land to Olympic winners. Yeah, remember that? So the land patch that they probably give, I don't know, maybe to the ladies, maybe it was a male, I don't know, I can't remember. And the land that they gave them had no infrastructure, they had no road facility, it had no utility, it was just out there in the back of the bush. Y'all remember that? Wasn't that set up for failure? You given our world-renowned Olympians. I would have given them like how the Jamaicans has handled their Olympians. Sure, they has handled their Caribbean people even better than we handle our Olympians. I give them crown land on prime property called the beach because that's what they deserve. Because they're going to, here comes again, interject back into the society because they were the best of the best. They were the Olympic best. You don't think they can come back and try to train the younger people? Wow. So the COI want to set you up for Zooming that will help you to be successful. The other things the COI would want to exclude and protect are wetlands, mangroves, and also protected forests. I don't think these two political parties are doing that. I really don't think they are. They're not protecting our wetlands. Did y'all see Mr. Bain showed us some wetlands that had black water? Where the chicken was fighting each other, and that was the biggest pastime for them on the tin roof. You remember that? I need you to remember that. Do you remember the protective forests when Mr. Bain showed the kill burning? It's called the snake kill, the something pit burning of coal. That's our forests. The two political parties have not done anything to protect that natural resource. We do not have an industry in our country that mine coal, and we will not have one because of those persons who have abused our forests to do coal mining, which is unlawful and illegal. And why we have a problem. Why we have a problem with them. Okay, so they want to protect those. They want to protect the wetland. They want to protect mangroves. They want to protect our forests because we're tired of person abusing our country and using it as a garbage bin and also polluting the ozone layer under carbon, climate change. But yet the same very government have not protected these lands. Yeah, and so here we are again. Give the COI this opportunity because right now we're losing our country. So here we are. There's something I also want to remind Bahamians who love their country is to treat your country with respect. I am a trainer professional over 43 years, and I'm telling you, I run so many different highways to challenge my training, my personal training, and when I go with clients. And I've been on 2 islands in particular, Grand Bahama. Give me 1 minute, I'm coming right back. Give me 1 minute. Please share this for me, thanks. I thought I was hearing helicopters. So talking about when you love your beautiful country called the Bahamas, right? Bahamians, this is for you. And this is for anybody who is actually disturbing the environment, as in garbage disposal. Now, I've seen the Grand Bahama Port on so many occasions have actually put up signs about littering and making a mess of Freeport. And again, I see it firsthand myself, to a point where one time I was so agitated with Bahamians in Nassau and Bahamians in Grand Bahama that I exposed it. I just take a picture. I'm going to take over 100 pictures and I post every last one of them on Facebook and tell those nasty Bahamians, whoever you are, I don't care who you are, there is for no excuse in 2025. There should be cans, Kentucky boxes, McDonald's, baby diapers. These are things that I've seen. I've also seen bottles and cans, not just throw alongside the road, but way into the bush. Do you realize that that can spark fires? And this is what I see with my own eyes. So when I speak, I'm speaking with the fact of what I witnessed. I'm telling those in our country called the Bahamas to please stop. The garbage is too much. I even see a lot of garbage along the roads coming here to West End. Let's talk about that. So this is all part of the environment. This is all part of your land. This is all part of keeping your land pristine and upgrading your environment, even if it's in your home. But I'm talking about in public spaces that I don't appreciate, and it needs to stop. All right? It needs to stop. Good morning, everyone. So let us continue what I was talking about. The land zoning audit will be done by the COI. There'll be a special group allocated for this land audit, so we can have everything transparently placed in the public domain so they can read it. And there is a law. You can see Section 3 to sustain able use. Okay, so it's important. And another classification needing clarification is to preserve land, especially in 2025 and beyond, for the new community homestead development for farming. In bracket, we will be okay, yeah. All right, so what the Coalition of Independence is proposing to you, that see how we have on the survey, the land, they just give you land and there's no plan for you. And then they said, well, come with your plan. And then, but they're not making it palatable. And I think because now this issue has escalated into something, the COI is thinking of ways to make it sustainable, manageable, but they're also thinking about where you could be successful in the land mass that you decide you want to have. Now, remember now, the Olympic winner was given a gift, but that gift was a gift of failure on a plot of land that he had no pole, no road, no utility. I mean, come on, you don't do that to an Olympic. But the COI wants to change all of this so they can make you successful. And, beyond, they want to create a new community homestead development with farming, all right? And they want it to be a mixed use potential. Remember, we don't live in the 60s, we live in 2025. Now, let us listen. Let me repeat this again. Listen, the Andres alone have, I had to type this in there some. Andres have, you all have to see this. I hold on a second, I didn't mean to do that. Andres have over 900, I'm trying to find some place where I could type that. 900,000 acres. 900,000 acre Andres have That's almost it's 1,000,000 acres. Okay, I want to type that in there because I don't think you all understand what I'm trying to say. Andres have over 900,000 acres, and that's roughly 1,000,000 acres of land. Of actually flat land. Now, remember I used to talk about our beautiful islands, and I used to tell you all the blue holes that are there and all the valuable assets to these islands. Now, think about this. Andrews has over 900 acres of dry land. Let's be specific now. Dry land. It's the largest land mass in the Bahamas, okay? I want y'all to think about this now. Andres today appears, I don't know what happened to Pinland's dream. It appears as if Andres had a economic implosion. Yeah, Andres had an economic implosion. Implosion means, it just imploded. Like when you bring a hotel down and the hotel just go down, 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 boom. Okay, so Andres has not been developed. I wonder which island has been developed over Andres. I think you all know which island that is, right? 900,000 acre of dry land. But only Nassau is empowered. Y'all see why the Bahamians mad, eh? And I ain't talking about empowered with tourism in the best quality tourism. I talking about just empowered. Is this fair? Is this fair to... Okay, actually, I need to stop doing that. Is this fair to the Bahamian people? No, it's not fair. Okay, so next detail is extremely important because for over 40 to 53 years, the systematic issues has been systematically to dumb you down. That's it. It just dumps you down. I mean, it makes you like, I want to go drink some coconut rum. I don't care. I just have some cocaine. I don't care. I don't give a crap what they say because they ain't doing it for us. But that's how the system is designed, okay? I'm not being dramatic, okay? So let me talk about number one. This is talking about the application and entitlement process. This will be requirements in parts who will oversee the procedures to its proper implementation. The land distribution unit, that's what they're called. That's what we're calling them. We're not calling them SHIELD. We're calling them the land distribution units. For further details, I want you all to please go and read plan under the land for the Vision 2030 under Coalition, Plan 1.2 under the land and the new version. Okay, let's move on. We're talking about grants, crown grants, and lease. This is very simple too. I'm going to get to the point, okay? Please read the details and a conveyance for free land title. That's important, okay? You're going to get conveyance for free land title. I want you to read it yourself in details. This Christmas, do not think it's all about the turkey. Don't think it's all about the rum. They ain't thinking about all the dress code, the junkin, whatever. Go and read, please, that we need. There is a prevention. Oh, yeah. There's a clause in there, right? Because even though you may be entitled to your land, right? Because we want to keep this full-scale community in order. Like, we want it to be really, really nice and organized. And we don't want the resale of this land to anybody. And then they decide to do a whole different development. And we have a whole plan for this. So we're going to make sure that there are preventions put in place for resale. Means you just can't sell it to anybody because we ain't doing this no more. All right? So that's something worth reading. That's something really worth reading, okay? It is, and the reason for the prevention of the resale, it is the purpose to sustain personal use, which is what we wanted for the Bahamians, okay? Because you need to have the leverage. but to keep the spirit of the program empowering Bahamians and not speculators. Okay? Let's go on. We will have an infrastructure and startup package support. Now, remember I told you the COI is setting you up not to fail. Let me draw the illustration of the Olympic winner, male. His property was a gift, and that was a disaster. No light, no road. This man had to do everything himself. That's not a proper gift. As a matter of fact, he need to be regifted. The Golden Girls, I believe they all got properties, and perhaps they are settled and they had prime property. But that particular male Olympian, that needs to be regifted. That cannot be left like that. So we will have the infrastructure and the starter package support. The COI will, I've heard stories, and I'm see it here, I'm re-emphasizing, Olympic champions were given property, side. The COI government will prevent such sad stories by, they will work to extend roads. That's important. A road is important. Not like how that other political party and the menace build the road up here, the property down there. Maria exposed that one. I was like, this is crazy. And it was a beautiful road. And it was like the house is down in a ditch. I go like, okay, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just trying to be too facetious. But the COI will extend roads, which includes utility and water, because these things, when you give somebody something, you need to give them the proper gift and make sure everything is good. We don't do stuff like that. We ain't gonna do that, all right? And also the internet. Jeez, COI, are you throwing in solar? Because they don't need to pay exorbitant power bills. You can throw in solar. Let me see what else they said. The internet, and organize a subdivision for farming. Oh, they're multitasking. Oh, this is good. A farming cluster and more. Yeah, I see no solar. Let me see. Let me read. Read 2030 vision plan. Oh, look. Not just the internet, but you're going to get solar power. Okay, here comes Graham Weatherford. You know, he's the solar system man. You know, he ready. Lots of details in your starter package, which you should have given the Olympian male. Okay? But we're not going to set you up to fail Bahamians. So we're going to develop them into something productive and habitable. And it has like this. I love this plan. I love this plan because it set Bahamians up to be successful in their subdivision. And why the hell not? Okay, let me behave. Because I got to preserve my energy because I got to go and work out after this. Now, honestly, the CI have witnessed the devastation with the neglect of government, the neglect with regards to not dealing with the mud pea. Yes, I'm bringing it back. And because they plagiarize and never did nothing for that community. Come on, people. You're a non-profit organization by your so-called Haitian nationals who live in our country. Didn't do nothing for y'all, okay? Y'all suffered the devastation of Dorian, and that's a whole different spiel of conversation because it's a spiritual thing. I'm moving on. But we want to prevent communities like that in the future, which I read to you with regards to why we want to prevent communities from suffering from devastation. I mean, we can't save everyone, okay? We just can't. We can't save everyone. But we can prevent that disaster from happening over and over again. So this is part 27 of our natural resources, on the land, COI. In the COI Constitution, they want to reinforce better communities, successful communities where the Bahamians will be enriched. Somebody got to look out for us, so the COI is looking out for us. I like it. They want to reinforce a lot of things, even the natural resources deal. But then again, that's another story for Mr. Bain to talk about. We can talk about this final thing because I don't want to be on long. I have to go and work out. Protection under the COI for the Bahamian people on this land by reinforcing, and this is what a promise is, a promise to a fool, but I understand that. Don't beat us up because those fools fooled y'all. Don't beat us up. That ain't our. Don't blame us, please. Let us do what we got to do. All right? Just do what you're supposed to do. You help and vote us in. We can reinforce the Immovable Property Act. Let me repeat that. We are going to reinforce the Immovable Property Act. It works in your favor. So I want you to remember that. Please remember that. Land is power. Land is an infinite source, and in the Bahamas, it is also a highly attractive asset for wealth, even for the foreign buyers. So what about you and investors? Okay? They want to correct that. The investors are great. We're not hurting our head, the deals that have already gone beyond us, except for this deal for expansion that they're trying to promise you all that they're going to expand the container port in $660 million. And you're going to vote them in one more time. No. Don't let them fool you. Whilst foreign investment has its place, unregulated foreign acquisition of land poses a grave threat to our national sovereignty and the ordinary Bahamian ability to afford property the same. It seems impossible to afford property. That is not right. Now, to safeguard our land, I think I read the purpose of the IPLA, right? I think I read that for you, yeah. And I told you what that was all about, but just in case. The IPLA that's the acronym. That's called the International Person Land Holding Act. It was repealed and replaced by the former Immovable Property Acquisition. Let's read that again. The International Personal Land Holding Act was repealed and replaced by the former Immovable Property Acquisition for the Foreign Persons Act. That's what it's basically is for. So Mr. Bain is saying in Vision 2030, he wants to reinforce the Immovable Act, Immovable Property Act, because it's a safeguard for you. It's a safeguard for our land. Our land is most valuable to Bahamian interests. And the COI will introduce the Immovable Property Act, revising and updating the protection that was removed in 1993. So how long? This is 2025. It's 1993. They had that app. Okay. Wow. Wow. The time between both. In 1993 to 2023, that's 33 years of investments from the foreign entity. Let me remind you what Mr. Pinnan had said. He was going to make us owners of our country. This is 2025. That's 33 years of foreign investment dominance. I'm going to say it because it's truth. Is hotel the only thing we can keep building in our country? You're not involved in building communities. Everybody talk about the communities. Everybody asks for your vote in the communities. And look at what your community look like. This is all you want? Trinkets? 33 years of that? Mr. Bain is saying that he wants to reinforce the Immovable Property Act. It's protection for you, the Bahamians. I can't say it no plainer than that. Now, for further information with regards to strategy is important. You don't hear them talking about strategy in the House of Assembly. No, they just talking to each other. And then they're completely missing what we're saying out here with regards to what we want as a country and what we want as Bahamians in the 21st century, and particularly what we want as Bahamians going forward in 2026. We don't want showtime. We don't want word salad. We don't want who have the best suits and more word salad and threats, and nobody's following through, and it's like, okay, what was that all about? We don't want you telling us what we can't say in general public on our Facebook page. Okay, some people is cuss a lot, and some people that's how angry they are. They're so sick and tired, or they just restrain to the low standard cussing. I don't endorse that, but that's how people feel. If you don't feel that anguish, how are you ever going to hear them? You heard us. We put it in letters for you. We said it in town meetings. We said it in protests. We said it in the last bill. But you didn't hear us. You went to push that in the Senate, the smuggling bill. There's not a time for that. Trump will do what Trump have to do for his country, and we will do what we got to do for our country as Bahamians. And if you don't fall in line because you were voted in to listen to the majority, and the majority is still the Bahamian people. And if anybody feel that has changed, then you better back up. And then one thing, I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to fight this. I don't care what it takes. So you don't hear us now, you're going to feel us later. This is how it always is before we come into the dawn of change. Always, I'm telling you. Every election, they get stupider. They say dumb things. They make dumb mistakes in the House of Assembly, dumb announcements. Drunk before the House of Assembly closed, can't even close on dates, right time. I mean, they're all over the place, as if we're not serious out here. Then you got other talk shows who talking. No, coming back at that. Mr. Bain has written Turco. I'm coming to that because too long we have provocative talk shows who try to misdirect what the general public is feeling and saying. And now we need somebody who could represent our voices. And if I got to come back as a broadcaster, I'll do that. But I am not going to follow the template of what I see. You are evading what the issues are that we are concerned of, and you're playing it down, and we don't like that. We've been telling you all forever, this ain't your show. But y'all pretend as if we don't exist. But the Bahamian people will show y'all, and things must change for 2026. Nothing we say, we won't be able to work behind it and make sure it happen. Believe me, everything on Vision 2030 is not shielded. It's very transparent for everyone to read and be involved with. Now it's up to y'all. We can do our part. And we'll stand even after the election. Before the election, you don't see we letting up at all. You know, we have a strong leadership in Mr. Lincoln Bain. And we're happy he came when we called, because we need a Bahamian who represent our voices.